When you get up in the morning, don't think. Just roll out of bed, go in your life cycle, or go on a bicycle ride, or go to the gym, work out. You know that's what you have to do. And then read something and learn something. So don't even think about it. Stay hungry. As soon as you think that you're perfect, that's when you're screwed. I gotta get better. I gotta lose more weight. I gotta trim down my tummy. I gotta get bigger calves. I gotta get bigger deltoids. If you're not quite reaching your goal because you didn't do everything that you could do. You have time. You make the time. Too much is not enough.
If I fall down, I have no fear of fainting in a gym because I know it could happen. I threw up many times while I was working out, but it doesn't matter because it's all worth it.
Stay hungry. I do everything that I can to be a winner and to get the body that I envision. If you do something, then do it. Go all out. You have time. You make the time. You can do it. You can do it. You can be the greatest. Do it. Go for it. I looked forward to another 1,000 reps of sit-ups. I looked forward to another 500 pounds of leg press or squat. I looked forward to doing more and more curls until my arms fall off. Why? Because I knew that every rep that I did and every set that I did and more weights that I lifted, I get one step closer to turning that vision into reality. You can do it. Why do you want to work out? What is your goal? If I can see it, and if I can believe it, then I can achieve it. Everything seems to be always impossible until someone does it. I want to be Mr. Universe. I want to be the greatest bodybuilder of all time, to win the championship over and over and over again, and to lift the trophy overhead. So that was a great goal. You have to have a goal. You can be the greatest. You can do it. I wanted to make sure that out of the 24 hours of the day, that I don't waste one single hour. Those hours were too precious. You have time. You make the time. Stay hungry. Little victories add up, and that is what gives you then ultimately confidence. You can be the greatest. Stay hungry.
We all fail. The key thing is to keep in mind what is your goal and keep looking at that as you get up and dust yourself off. Work your butt off. It is so important that you work your butt off. Don't ever look for shortcuts.
Keep pushing forward. It wasn't easy. There were moments where I felt like we were pushing an impossible weight up that giant mountain. And we fell back down several times. People thought that I was a crazy freak. I'm always hungry for more. I want more. And I think all of you want more.
I believe that self-discipline is the definition of self-love.
Of course, I've always believed in setting goals really high. I always like to set goals so high that the naysayers always say it's impossible.
Let the dream destroy you. Let it strip you. Let it remake and mold you. Don't be afraid.
Millennials are stuck with degrees that are not usable and bills that they can't pay for. Middle America is frustrated because the jobs are gone and they don't seem to be coming back. Inner cities are frustrated because there's no economic opportunities in there. Each of us has a responsibility to stop waiting on someone to rescue us and redesign our lives and create the kind of life you want to live.
Ignore the naysayers. To set big goals and to have a big vision. Yes, everything is always impossible until someone does it. We can do the impossible. Let's get started.
Do what you can. Knock it out. Build up extra free time. If you need a break, take a break. Do what you can. If you need a break, take a break. If you need a little relaxation, take some relaxation. Yeah. Don't waste your time though. People do relaxing, but they don't even do it good. They don't even feel relaxed when they get done. What they did is they did something stupid for an hour. They watched YouTube videos for an hour. Did that help you? No. Go outside, go for a run, do some burpees, go surfing, go do some jiu-jitsu, play with your kids, whatever. Do something that actually has some value.
If you don't know where you are going, you don't know what it takes to get there.
When you get up in the morning, don't think. Just roll out of bed, go in your life cycle, or go on a bicycle ride, or go to the gym, work out. You know that's what you have to do. And then read something and learn something. So don't even think about it. As soon as you think that you're perfect, that's when you're screwed. I gotta get better. I gotta lose more weight. I gotta trim down my tummy. I gotta get bigger calves. I gotta get bigger deltoids.
Listen to me, you have to be careful when you hang around average people. All they want to do is tell you what they can't do, and that's okay that they can't do it, but that has absolutely nothing to do with us. We can go from being homeless and high school dropouts to having PhDs, writing books, and becoming the voice of a generation. We can do whatever we believe we can do, and we don't need anybody's permission to do it but ours.
So if you're not quite reaching your goal because you didn't do everything that you could do, you have time. You make the time.
We have an epidemic in this world. If you don't fix this, you will be a bitch for the rest of your life.
What the fuck are you doing? Watching some mind-numbing TV. Making that list you need to go to the store next time. Making those phone calls to those people and just chit-chatting and gossiping about dumbass things.
The epidemic I'm talking about is a lot of people bitch about fucking everything. They bitch about not having time. They bitch about their boss. They bitch about their husband. They bitch about their lives. They bitch about everything.
Your feelings are screwing you. I don't care how you feel. I care about what you want. And if you listen to how you feel when it comes to what you want, you will not get it. Because you will never feel like it.
You can't put your foot down. You can't say yes, you can't say no. You don't own yourself. You'll be a beta bitch for the rest of your life. But congratulations, red flag, you noticed it, you're gonna deal with it now, so you'll win. And it's not about being overly aggressive and hysterical, but it's about owning yourself.
You need to get outside your comfort zone. It's not about taking risks, it's about getting outside your comfort zone. Those first 3 seconds when you push yourself out of bed, they blow. But once you're up, it's great.
Mr. Resistance will be there every morning, noon, and night. And while you are sleeping, riding your ass, kicking your ass, unless you turn around and you start throwing punches.
We bitch about everything in life, but we do nothing about it. Very few people do anything about it. I'm fat, I'm out of shape, all these fucking things. What the fuck are you doing about it? You gotta take action in your life. You gotta stop bitching. You gotta start find a solution to your fucking problem. Don't be the problem. Take action. For every action, there's an opposite reaction. If all you do is bitch, nothing's gonna happen in your life. Take action, take control, stay hard. You've got to get comfortable in getting uncomfortable. And the minute that discomfort begins to rule you, you are no longer in control. Now the circumstances are. So put yourself purposefully in uncomfortable situations. Then go back to the gym. I mean, because really that's the battleground for you right now. Then go back to the gym. After you've exerted your courage in these particular ways, no one can teach you virtues. See, I think Aristotle once said this, no virtue is developed in a vacuum. Essentially, no virtue is developed in the absence of the practice, the expression. You got to do the thing to have the power. Ralph Waldo Emerson. You got to do the thing to have the power. So don't go read a book about virtues. Don't go read a book about courage. Don't ask any more questions. Don't send me any more questions. Or ask another YouTuber. Don't read about it. Don't think about it. Don't talk about it with your friends. Go and fucking do the thing. Go practice that virtue of courage. It's the one you're lacking. Then go to the gym and try again.
Go out there, take no prisoners, have no regrets, have no fear. Lay it all out on the line.
If you think real strength is in this right here, in your muscles, in your bones, your fucking genetics, if you think that's where real strength lies, you are sadly mistaken. Sadly mistaken.
Look, you only get this life once. And you only get certain opportunities once. And at the age that you are right now, and I know a lot of you are sort of in this age bracket, somewhere where you're graduating from high school, graduating from college, getting on with your life. If If you don't develop certain character virtues, it's going to be difficult. It's going to be more difficult later on to do it because now you're in the quote-unquote real world.
How do you get to the gym every day? How do you change your diet? How do you overcome fear of failure, fear of success, or fear of fear itself?
Believing in yourself is the first secret to success.
You have to find your inner passion. The thing that wakes you up in the morning. The thing that you think about all day. The thing that you wish you were getting paid for. Once you find it, you need to believe you can do it.
Could I become committed to the process of what I was doing without being emotionally attached to the results of what I was doing? In other words, if I didn't get what I thought I was going to get, can I still show up and be just as dedicated, just as committed, and just as on fire as I was at day one? Right? Because everybody knows how to respond when they get what they're supposed to get and things go the way it's supposed to go. I think that's the reason the quote says you judge the character of a person not by where they stand in times of comfort and convenience. You judge the character of a person by where they stand in times of challenge and controversy. You got some of the most brilliant people on the face of this planet. When they hit adversity, they can't fight themselves out of a paper bag. And it's not even that they don't have the will, like they got it. It's that the perspective about the adversity isn't right. And I firmly believe perspective drives performance every day of the week. How an individual view what they do will always affect how they do what they do.
Folk can't understand why they're trying to pull you down, but you're still rising. They don't want to see you make it, but you're still driving. You're still living good. You're still eating well. They have tried everything they know to pull you away, but you just keep getting closer and closer and closer to your goal and your breakthrough.
No matter what happens, never stop believing in yourself. It is the strongest factor of success. Self-esteem is everything. Believe you deserve it. Believe you can do it. Believe you have the ability. Believe you are on the right path. Believe you'll get it. And most importantly, believe in yourself.
You gotta take my life before you take my drive. I wasn't working just to be a great football player. I wanna be a great man. I wanna be a great father for my children. I want to be a great husband for my wife. I want to be a great servant in the world. I don't want when adversity or rain comes, I'm the guy, I was great before the adversity, but the moment the adversity hit, I never turned back to true form. I don't want to be that person that's great when everything is going all good, but when something goes wrong, they flee and they want nothing to do with it. I want to be that person that's going to show up rain, sleet, or snow, and they're going to give you everything they got.
You got to take off arrogance. You got to take off pride. You gotta take off envy. And sometimes you got to lose what you think you got to have in order to get your best. Square your shoulders, man. Walk like you're somebody. Talk like you're somebody.
You see, my dreams and ambitions are what drive me. They keep me moving in a direction. Motivation gets me there faster. You see, you can look for outside motivation, but this won't sustain you unless you have an inner desire. You don't know how close you are to success, so why stop now? You've come so far, so why give in now? You are a champion. We're just waiting for your time to shine. Keep pushing, the same as you've always been doing. You should never give up on something you can't go a day without thinking about. Don't quit on your passion. Don't give up on your dreams. You are the only person who can bring them to life. You are the only one who can write your book, make your film, be the athlete you were destined to be, help those people you can help. It is only you who was destined to do those things.
I have spent my whole life scared, frightened of things that could happen, might not happen. 50 years I spent like that, finding myself awake at 3 in the morning, you know what? Ever since my diagnosis, I sleep just fine.
My history did not have to become my future.
For whatever reason, most people, their associations are to avoid anything that's uncomfortable. But it's so illogical, because when you look at comfort and you look at success and progress and the feelings of accomplishment and of getting past certain hurdles in terms of like how you feel about life, a lot of those are connected to discomfort. Like, discomfort is your friend.
I was one who swam against the tide of what is expected and what the establishment wants from us.
I began to see the possibilities of not being where I was.
I came to realize it's that fear that's the worst of it. That's the real
I will stand. I will put both of my feet in the ground. And I will stand for something, because if I don't stand for something, I'll fall for anything.
If you live your life just acting constantly on the momentum of other people's expectations, of you wanting to be liked by these other people.
So, get up. Get out in the real world.
Even we heal as a team, we're going to crumble. Inch by inch, play by play, till we're finished.
You are going to incur a lot of disappointment, a lot of failure, a lot of pain, a lot of setbacks, a lot of defeats. But in the process of doing that, you will discover some things about yourself that you don't know right now. What you will realize is that you have greatness within you. What you'll realize is that you're more powerful than you can ever begin to imagine. What you will realize is that you're greater than your circumstances, that you don't have to go through life being a victim. I was born in Miami, Florida, in an area called Liberty City, in an abandoned building on a hard linoleum floor. Someone's opinion of you does not have to become your reality.
When I'm broken, I relish it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna use it. Because if I'm broken, then I just found my limitations. And until I know what my limitations are, how can I push them? How can I get better? Once I see it, once I feel it, once I see where I was broken, then I can attack that weakness. I can fill in that gap.
Some of you have dreams and visions and businesses and ideas and concepts, and they're beautiful, but until you pay the sacrifice, I swear you can't have success where you have not had sacrifice. I swear you won't get it just because you want it, but just because you think you're worth it. You will succeed in the areas and to the degree of your sacrifice.
You never say no. You never say it can't get done. Don't you ever say out your mouth it can't get done. Even if you feel in your heart it can't get done, you don't say it out loud. You let the broke folks say that.
I can reinforce that breach.
You let the folks they firing first say that. You always say it can get done.
It can be the mark of victory or it can be the mark of defeat.
You can't let anything stop you from doing what you were called to do. Listen to me, you have to be careful when you hang around average people. All they're going to do is tell you what they can't do, and that's okay that they can't do it, but that has absolutely nothing to do with us. We can go from being homeless and high school dropouts to having PhDs, writing books, and becoming the voice of a generation. We can do whatever we believe we can do, and we don't need anybody's permission to do it but ours. I am great, listen to me, and I don't owe anybody an apology. I am phenomenal, and I don't owe anybody an apology. I am going to do great things, and I don't owe anybody an apology. I was created to be great. I was created to do great things. I was created to have great things, and I will no longer ask others for their permission. In order for us to have and be and do everything we were born to do is, number one, we have to kill the noise. We have to stop going to other people and looking to other people for their permission to do what only we can do.
Nowadays, it's very easy to be a coward. Why? We got Instagram and shit.
The problem our young people are having is that they live on social media. And social media only shows you success.
So, I get an email the other day. This young man wants to be a ranger, but he's afraid to go to ranger school. Not because how hard the training is, but because he's afraid if he fails, what people are going to say by judging him. One thing in life, this applies to everything in life. Anytime you move from being normal to trying to be exceptional, people aren't going to like that. Those normal people, it makes them feel like this. They're going to judge you. Most folks don't tell you to your face. They go online, they post about like cowards. Don't let cowards get in your fucking head.
One of the things that we know about life is that it is always changing. Sometimes you're up, sometimes you're down. Sometimes things go real well, and sometimes they don't. Sometimes you're happy, and sometimes you're sad. Now that's that thing called life.
People who live on social media live on the mountains of your life. But then when they cut off social media and they find the dip, then they get depressed because my life doesn't look like your picture.
And when we begin to understand and know that, accepting that reality that we will never ever have things just on an even keel all the time, that you're going to have some ups and you're going to have some downs. But during those down moments, that's where the growth takes place.
So my reality doesn't look like your image. And now I'm depressed because I can't get out of the dips. When your real power is in the dips.
That's where the work is. Anybody can feel good when they have their health, their bills are paid, they have happy relationships, the children are acting normal.
See, you think you saw the most powerful parts of 2016, but the peaks are not the most powerful parts. It's how do you survive the valleys?
Anybody can be positive then. Anybody can have a larger vision then. Anybody can have faith under those kinds of circumstances. Am I correct? See, but the real challenge of growth, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually, comes when you get knocked down.
It's the hell we went through in between the pictures that would make you respect the position. The reason you think you can handle stuff you're not ready for is that we only show you the good stuff.
You may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation.
At some point, everything's going to go south on you. Everything's going to go south, and you're going to say, this is it. This is how I end. Now, you can either accept that, or you can get to work. That's all it is. You just begin. You do the math. You solve one problem, then you solve the next one.
400 trillion to 1. I just want everybody to hear this. This is the reason I'm happy 24/7, 365 for the rest of my life. 400 trillion to 1. The odds of becoming a human being.
If you want to be a grocer or a general or a politician or a judge, you will invariably become it. That is your punishment.
You can decide that you're going to stand up to life. You can decide that I'm going to live each day as if it were my last.
They've crunched the numbers on you being born. And do you realize that the odds of you, at the moment in time he was born, to the parents you were born to, with the DNA structure that you have, 1 in 400 trillion.
If you never know what you want to be, if you live what some might call the dynamic life, but I will call the artistic life, if each day you are unsure of who you are and what you know, you will never become anything, and that is your reward.
If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowances for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating.
1 in 400 trillion. All day long you have ideas that could change your life, that could change the world, that could change the way that you feel. And what do you do with them?
Things we've worked the hardest for, we value the most. So I think, you know, the purpose of a goal is not getting it anyway. The purpose of a goal, you know, is who you become. Who you become is going to make you happy or it's going to make you sad. So I'm not looking for an effortless approach.
It's too late to be scared.
Not had an encouraging bloody word, a real encouraging word in their entire life. It just takes a little bit of encouragement and care so that they're willing to set themselves straight to some degree and start trying. It's just a catastrophe that's so rare in their lives.
That if you're doing something that you're not totally committed to, if you're doing something that you're not totally passionate about, you're compromising yourself every day.
Some people want to do ultra races. They're starting to PR during training. Some people want to be a lawyer or a medical student, so they're taking these practice tests. But guess what happens? Once you get to the actual event, your mind isn't ready. Your mind's not prepared. You've been studying, you've been training, you've been working out, but your mind's not prepared.
Transforming the walls into doors. Changing obstacles into opportunities.
By the time that they closed the second restaurant, it was an $800,000 loss. I mean, that meant our entire home equity line gone.
Right.
It meant kids' college. I get just choked up just thinking about how terrifying it was. And so I found myself at the age of 41, like, just feeling like a complete failure. Because the way that our minds are wired, and the fact about human beings is that we are not designed to do things that are uncomfortable or scary or difficult. Our brains are designed to protect us from those things because our brains are trying to keep us alive. And in order to change, in order to build a business, in order to be the best parent, the best spouse, to do all those things that you know you want to do with your life, with your work, with your dreams, you're going to have to do things that are difficult, uncertain, or scary, which sets up this problem for all of us. You're never going to feel like it. Motivation's garbage. You only feel motivated to do the things that are easy, right? And at some point, I think we all hit that moment in life where things just are not going how you thought they would go. And what's amazing about those moments is we all respond very differently.
I believe desire and will to win is everything. I don't know why I'm like I am, but my butt's always burning. There's always something say, Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to go for it. Art, dadgummit, you're supposed to be somebody. You're supposed to make a difference with your life. What does the $500,000 a year person do? The $50,000 a year person doesn't do. You look at the outside and study those two individuals, everything seems to be the same. They both are the same sex, they both are the same age, they have the same training, the same positions, the same contract, the same fringe benefits. They both are successful, they work hard, they're good family people, make tough commitments. But what's the difference? What does the $500,000 a year person do the $50,000 a year person doesn't do? He pays the price and a little bit more. He works hard and a little bit more. He's loyal to the company and a little bit more. He believes in a little bit more. He makes money and a little bit more. He saves money and a little bit more. If you want to win in these United States, you got to be tough and you can't quit.
I wore one branch manager down to the point that he says to me, Gardner, based on persistence alone, we're going to give you a shot.
Because at some point, we all bought into this lie that you got to feel ready in order to change.
You know what? You said I couldn't do it, but guess what? I start in 2 weeks.
We bought into this complete falsehood that at some point you're going to have the courage, at some point you're going to have the confidence, and it's total bullshit. You may be watching this right now, and you have these incredible ideas, and what you think is missing is motivation.
Failure is part of life. The difference for me, though, is I look at failure as a stepping stone to success. It's a speed bump.
Every time you learn something, you learn because something you did didn't work. And that exposes you to the part of the world that you don't understand. Every time you're exposed to a part of the world that you don't understand, you have the possibility of rebuilding the structures that you use to interpret the world.
I know I'm going to fail, but it's not failure if you learn something. And so every time I do, it just becomes a way for me to explain to someone else what it takes.
That's often why it's more important to notice that you're wrong than it is to prove that you're right.
People don't value what they don't fight for.
Baby steps count too, as long as you're going forward. And one day you add all those baby steps up and you might be surprised at where you can get to.
People have an unbelievable capacity to face and overcome things they don't understand. And not only that, that's essentially what gives life its meaning. The Buddhists say life is suffering. And you think, well, if that's the case, why bother with it?
Well, now that we can see how short life really can be, what are you going to do with the rest of your life? That's a trigger. That's the biggest trigger that I have ever experienced. What are you going to do the rest of your life? The cavalry ain't coming. You got to do this yourself. Ain't no backup. Okay?
Our minds are designed to stop you at all costs from doing anything that might hurt you. And the way that this all happens is it all starts with something super subtle that none of us ever catch. And that is with this habit that all of us have that nobody's talking about. We all have a habit of hesitating. We have an idea, you're sitting in a meeting, you have this incredible idea, and instead of just, saying it, you stop and you hesitate. Now, what none of us realize is that when you hesitate, just that moment, that micro moment, that small hesitation, it sends a stress signal to your brain. It wakes your brain up, and your brain all of a sudden goes, oh wait a minute, why is he hesitating? He didn't hesitate when he put on his killer spiky sneakers. He didn't hesitate with the really cool track pants. He didn't hesitate with the NASA t-shirt. Now he's hesitating to talk, something must be up. So then your brain goes to work to protect you. It has a million different ways to protect you. One of them is called the spotlight effect. It's a known phenomenon where your brain magnifies risk. Why? To pull you away from something that it perceives to be a problem. And so you can truly trace every single problem or complaint in your life to silence and hesitation. Those are decisions. And what I do and what's changed my life is waking up and realizing that motivation's garbage. I'm never gonna feel like doing the things that are tough or difficult or uncertain or scary or new, so I need to stop waiting until I feel like it. And number two, I am one decision away from a totally different marriage, a totally different life, a totally different job, a totally different income, a totally different relationship with my kids. Your life comes down to your decisions, and if you change your decisions, you will change everything.
Now it's time to see who has a heart. Now is the time to prove to yourselves and prove to everyone out there you are worthy of something. And you're able to do something special that no one else in the world can do.
Every champion has felt it.
Go out there, take no prisoners, have no regrets, have no fear. Lay it all out on the line.
Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge.
You never say no. You never say it can't get done. Don't you ever say out your mouth it can't get done. Even if you feel in your heart it can't get done, you don't say it out loud. You let the broke folks say that.
You can't let anything stop you from doing what you were called to do.
Get up. Go. Fight on.
We must find a way to push through pain, to understand that's on the other side of that struggle.
Some of you have dreams and visions and businesses and ideas and concepts, and they're beautiful, but until you pay the sacrifice, I swear you can't have success where you have not had sacrifice. I swear you won't get it just because you want it, or just because you think you're worth it. You will succeed in the areas and to the degree of your sacrifice.
Do not take the easy way out. Do not give up based on instinct. If you are forced to stand down, to retreat so that you can rebuild and re-attack, so be it.
I don't care if you don't have the money, you don't have the help, and you don't have the family for it, and you don't have the background for it, and you don't have the friends for it. Don't you give up on your dream. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. Don't you do it. It may take you twice as long. You may have to take courses and classes. You might not read as fast. You might not move as quick. You might not have as much. But don't you Every champion has felt it. Every president has felt it. Every king has felt it. Every lion has felt it. Every winner has felt it. Every soldier has felt it. Every victorious person has felt it. The urge to quit.
Why are you going to clubs when you broke? Why do you have the latest iPhone when you got no money? Move the needle forward. Do something to self-help education instead of like, you know what? I'm just gonna live my life freeloading and coming up off of everybody else.
What people think about you and the possibilities for your dream is none of your business. They have no imagination, ladies and gentlemen. They're living out of the past, out of their memory. The attitude is it can't be done because they haven't seen it. They're judging according to appearances. The people that are going to make it in the future, the people that are making it today, let me share something with you. History is being read, but it's also being written by people with imagination.
I want y'all to understand. Never, ever allow anybody to make you feel bad about being so blessed. When you work your ass off to live your life and lifestyle. Feed your kids, feed your family. Be there for people when they need you the most.
Watch folk who don't like you. They smile in your face. They're backstabbing.
While other people are giving up, feeling like victims, feeling powerless, becoming negative, turning on each other rather than to each other, feeling that they can't make it. Be ye not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind with the mindset of that it's possible. I can create a new life, and it's necessary that I become actively involved in becoming a positive force in my life and on the planet. And it's me, yes, it's you, pulling together, working together to create this brand new future. And it's going to be hard. Easy is not an option. But if it's hard, we will do it hard. Whatever is required to snatch victory from the jaws of defeat. It's worth it, yes. It's worth whatever we have to do. And once we know that, it is done. It is done. It is done.
You gotta create that new norm. That has to be your lifestyle. You are the master of your own mind. Create that masterpiece. Be proud of yourself at the very end of it all.
We've kind of lost touch with the cultural narratives around death that gave it some meaning. So now when it happens, it's just this absurd, scary thing that we don't know what to do with. The only narrative we have absorbed, I guess, is that of the brave battle that someone's fighting.
If you're going to try, go all the way. Otherwise, don't even start.
That this is when we can bring if we have the opportunity to bring our stories to some kind of ending. Watch a film or read a book. That final scene makes sense of everything that's happened before. This doesn't happen in life. Author of our stories more than at any point before death.
If you're going to try, go all the way. This could mean losing girlfriends, wives, relatives, jobs, and maybe your mind.
Main characters are our loved ones or the doctors or people making all these decisions, and we kind of get sidelined.
Go all the way. It could mean not eating for 3 or 4 days. It could mean freezing on a park bench. It could mean jail. It could mean derision, mockery, isolation. Isolation is the gift.
It's not okay for you to be weak loser. It's not okay. And the reason it's not okay is because you could be way more than that. And it's a crime, an ethical crime, for you to allow all that necessary potential to go to waste. It hurts you, it hurts your family, it hurts the world. Really, really, it does.
All the others are a test of your endurance, of how much you really want to do it. And you'll do it, despite rejection and the worst odds.
Now, when I was 15 years old, I had a very important person in my life come to me and say, "Who's your hero?" And I said, "I don't know, I gotta think about that. Give me a couple of weeks." I come back 2 weeks later, this person comes up and says, "Who's your hero?" I said, "I thought about it. You know who it is?" I said, "It's me in 10 years. So I turned 25 10 years later. That same person comes to me and goes, "So are you a hero?" And I was like, "Not even close. No. She said, "Why?" I said, "Because my hero is me at 35. So you see, every day, every week, every month, and every year of my life, my hero is always 10 years away. I'm never gonna be my hero. I'm not gonna attain that. I know I'm not. And that's just fine with me because that keeps me with somebody to keep on chasing."
The only person I could really hold accountable was myself. And the second I stopped blaming people and blaming myself, I changed.
It will be better than anything else you can imagine. If you're going to try, go all the way. There is no other feeling like that. You will be alone with the gods, and the nights will flame with fire. Do it. Do it. Do it. Do it. All the way. All the way. You will ride life straight to perfect laughter. It's the only good fight there is.
You know, somebody once said you could take all the money in the world out of the hands of everybody, out of all the wealthy people in the world who are really successful, give it to other people, it wouldn't take too long, those people would have it back in their hands. It's not because they're manipulative, it's because they have a standard.
The reason people don't put themselves in a position to fail, the reason people aren't patient, is they value other people's opinions too much.
You have to monitor your self-talk. Monitor your self-talk. If you go around tell people, oh, I have a horrible memory, I'm not smart enough, I'm getting too old, fill in the blank.
Take those 3 magic words and live them. Raise your standard.
If you fight for your limitations, you get to keep them.
You gotta be willing to do it afraid. See, you might be waiting for the fear to stop. I should leap afraid.
You chose to withdraw because you were afraid. You're actually tougher than you think. You never knew that, and maybe you didn't want to take on the responsibility.
People are rewarded in public for what they've practiced for years in private.
Stay on guard to your mind, because your mind is always eavesdropping on your self-talk. Your mind is always eavesdropping on your self-talk.
I'd rather die leaping than on the edge figuring out how to get the courage to leap.
Okay, I'm gonna go make this happen. I'm gonna go make this much money. I'm gonna transform my kids. I'm gonna create the ultimate relationship in my life. I'm gonna transform my body, whatever it is. And then you don't have strong enough reasons and you don't use it. You don't follow through. It's because you didn't back up your standards with what makes those standards real, and that's rituals.
You constantly remind yourself, after every defeat, after every setback, every time you get knocked down, I've got a saying, if life knocks you down, try and land on your back, because if you can look up, you can get up. See, a lot of people, because of failure, they stop believing. Let me share something with you. You will fail your way to success.
So many times we're waiting. I'm waiting.
8 out of 10 millionaires have been financially bankrupt. You will fail your way to success. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. It doesn't matter how many times people tell you that you can't do it. It doesn't matter if you don't have a dime in the bank. You will fail your way to success.
What's the standard they hold themselves to? And then what are all those little rituals that add up? Because think about it. Success and failure are not giant events. They don't just show up. You don't just suddenly become successful or suddenly have this cataclysmic event that makes you fail. It may look that way, but failure comes from all the little things.
You're just kind of waiting. You're waiting to get everything in order. You're waiting so that everything is in you, it's together. You're waiting to not be afraid. You're waiting to have the courage. You're waiting to have all the money. You're waiting.
You've got 5 seconds, and that's it. Today, 5 seconds gone. Talk yourself out of it.
It's failure to make the call. It's failure to check the books. It's failure to say, I'm sorry. All the results in your life are coming from your rituals. Rituals define us.
Knowing that you're never gonna feel like doing all the work that it takes to have this business be everything that it possibly could.
And all those little failures day after day come together until one day some cataclysmic event happens and you blame that. That event happened because you missed all the little stuff.
And when you wanna do it right and you wanna wait till you're not afraid and you wanna wait till you have it all together, oh, you made it about you. Again. See, Nelson Mandela did it. He just did it not knowing if it were right. Mahatma Gandhi just did it not knowing if it were right. Mother Teresa just did it not looking for affirmation or confirmation. Is this right? Martin Luther King did it not even knowing if it would happen before his life ended. What are you waiting on? Are you willing to do it afraid? Are you willing to do it knowing that you got so much work to do to get it better, to get it more perfect, but are you willing to do it inside your imperfection? Do you realize that in your imperfection, you're perfect for the job?
Little bite-sized steps, little things you do each day that after you do them, you get so much momentum that it's easy to succeed. You're not overwhelmed. You have these victory day after day after day on little things.
The brain is gonna screw you over. The brain is gonna go into autopilot. The brain is going to tell you it doesn't feel like doing things.
Raise your standard.
From the moment that you have the idea, from the second you have that idea, you've only got 5 seconds to take action. Otherwise, it's gone. There's only one rule when it comes to productivity. There's only one rule when it comes to success. There's only one rule to getting everything you've ever wanted. And here it is. You're never gonna feel like it. Ever. in any area of your life that you don't have what you want, whether it's the amount of money, the amount of people on your team, the amount of sales, the amount of trips for your family, if you only did the things that you don't feel like doing, you'd have everything you've ever wanted.
The cave you fear to enter holds the treasure you seek.
You have these victory day after day after day on little things. If you went through Ultimate Edge, I'm sure you learned about the hour of power, or the 15 minutes to be able to be fulfilled, or 30 minutes to thrive, where you literally just condition your body and emotion with a couple little rituals. So it doesn't matter what's going on in your world, you feel that strength, and it's not fake, it's not some pump up, it's coming from inside you, and it works. Rituals define us.
Every time I come back here to the islands, to Oahu, Honolulu, where we used to live, I always make sure that I take a day, I go by myself, and I go visit all my old haunts. So today I went by, first I visited my grandfather and my grandmother's grave, then I went by my old high school, then I went by my old middle school, and all the places I used to get in trouble, all the places I used to get arrested. I was evicted when I was 14 years old, but I'll show you where we used to live. It's a 3-story apartment efficiency building, and I lived right there on the first floor. And then we were forced off the island of Hawaii to move, of all places, we had to move to Nashville. And we lived in a little motel, and I was trying to remain as positive as I could. And it's crazy because life is so ironic and so unpredictable, and that's the place where we were evicted from, and that's where we came home, and there was an eviction notice on the door, and we were forced to move off the island because we couldn't afford to pay the rent. Going through it, stay strong, keep pushing through, because again, on the other side is a little something better, because I'm living proof of that, because years later, I am sitting right outside your apartment.
Get your ass kicked, you get back up, and you put the gloves back on, and you swing away.
I slept in a bedroom. It was a 1-bedroom efficiency. I slept in a bedroom. My parents slept on a pull-out couch in the living room. And every day I used to walk out, and I used to think, it must be so cool to live in a place like that. I hope one day, I could live in something like that, or we could live in something like that.
I wanted to be something, and it was important to me to be something. It was important to me that I didn't fail.
If you are out there and you're struggling, and a lot of you are, and you're struggling to make ends meet, struggling to pay the rent, when you go eat at a restaurant, you got to look at the prices first before you actually look at the selections. I know what it's like. I've been down that road, and that shit is hard. It ain't easy, but I'm telling you that if you're going through it, stay strong, have faith, keep pushing through. I've said this before, and I'm living proof of it, is that on the other side of your struggle is something good. On your other side of your struggle is something better. On the other side of your struggle is some sort of success. So keep pushing through if you're struggling. Whoever lives in my apartment, you're going through it, stay strong, keep pushing through, because again, on the other side is a little something better, because I'm living proof of that, because years later, I am sitting right outside your apartment. Well, when that didn't happen for me, I went up to the Canadian Football League. I played up there. Yeah. I got cut from there, flew back down to Miami. Mm-hmm. My old man was living in Tampa. Mm-hmm. I called him at midnight when I landed. I said, you got to come get me. Mm-hmm. On the way back up to Tampa, I said, God damn, let me see how much money I got. I pulled out my wallet, I opened it up, I took out a 5, a 1, and change. Oh. And that's why we have $7 per day.
We've had a long conversation in our culture about the necessity for self-esteem and happiness. I tell my audiences and my readers very straightforwardly that life is difficult and that there's a lot of suffering in it, and that you have to learn how to conduct yourself in the face of that. The problem with the pursuit of happiness is that when life's storms come along, happiness disappears, and then you're left with nothing. And so you need to pursue something that's deeper than happiness.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up.
And if happiness comes along, well then, hooray for you. You don't want to despise it because it's fleeting.
To do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up.
But it's much better to pursue things that are meaningful than things that make you happy. It's deeper and it orients you more appropriately and it keeps you centered in your own life. It makes you more useful for your family and your community.
You look at the ones that ended up being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society and the ones that didn't. Oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? It's a lot of hard work and it's a lot of worrying constantly. If you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it, you got to have passion.
Because in the end, what we get will never make us happy.
You got to be doing something that you're truly passionate about. It cannot be, I just want to make money.
As strange as change can be, there were times when it was hard to imagine that my life would be what it is today.
What makes us happy is progress. Progress equals happiness. If you're not growing, you're dying inside.
Can't be that. It's got to be something that the sun can't come up soon enough in the morning because you want to go do your thing. This is the time to pursue greatness.
I think you should go get a job as a busboy or something until you find something you're really passionate about, because it's a lot of work.
Because in the end, what we get will never make us happy. I don't care how many stars on your chart, how many Academy Awards, how much money you make.
And I'm convinced that about half of what separates the successful entrepreneurs from the non-successful ones is pure perseverance.
I worked 8 to 5, and literally I'd come home, I'd get a bite to eat, and then I'd start my work at 6 p.m., 6:30 p.m., and I'd go from 6:30 to 2 a.m. And I'd get another 7-8 hours in, and that's how I built everything in the beginning.
It is so hard. You pour so much of your life into this thing. There are such rough moments in time that most people give up.
That's honestly what's required. And to not do that is to cheat yourself.
And I knew this is where I'm supposed to be. I wore one branch manager down to the point that he says to me, Gardner, based on persistence alone, we will give you a shot.
And it consumes your life. It's rough, because it's pretty much an 18-hour-a-day job, 7 days a week. Unless you have a lot of passion about this, you're going to not survive. You're going to give it up.
Don't ever let somebody else tell you what you can't do. When somebody else is saying something can't be done, what you got to hear them saying is they can't do it.
There are just times when something is important enough, you believe in it enough, that you do it in spite of fear.
Baby steps count too, as long as you're going forward. And one day you add all those baby steps up and you might be surprised at where you can get to. The cavalry ain't coming. You got to do this yourself. Ain't no backup.
So you got to have an idea or a problem or a wrong that you want to right that you're passionate about. Otherwise, you're not going to have the perseverance to stick it through.
Mr. Hitchcock, what is your definition of happiness?
A clear horizon, nothing to worry about on your plate. Only things that are creative and not destructive. I think that's within yourself, and you can look forward, and the road is clear ahead, and now you're going to create something. I think that's as happy as I would ever want to be.
It's like starting companies like staring into the abyss and eating glass. And there's some truth to that. And that goes on for a long time.
In that bathroom, I finally had to understand what my mama used to say to me. When she would say, boy, the cavalry is not coming. Ain't no backup. I was 28 years old when that part of my life happened. Change was coming fast. And you know what? Change is everywhere.
Given that, even if you're the best, there's always a chance of failure. So I think it's important that you really like whatever you're doing. If you don't like it, life is too short.
The most urgent question today is not so much as what are my values and who are we? The urgent question in these times of constant change is, how exactly are you going to navigate these new realities? Put another way, what are you going to do? So the idea of I drove here is empowering, because the other side of it is, if I drove here, that means I can drive out of here. I have to own it. But it's hard to look in the mirror and say, how did I get here?
The past 33 years, I've looked in the mirror every morning and asked myself, if today were the last day of my life, would I want to do what I am about to do today?
And have the answer be, I drove here. I had something to do with it.
And whenever the answer has been no for too many days in a row, I know I need to change something.
There's no one else like Steve Jobs. You can generally say that if they're masters, there's nobody else that can take their place. And that is the ultimate position of power. The greatest danger that all of you face is that you're basically going to be replaceable. That's the fate that most people have. The end game is to be irreplaceable. You're one of a kind. You're original.
The minute I dropped out, I could stop taking the required classes that didn't interest me and begin dropping in on the ones that looked far more interesting. If I had never dropped out, I would have never dropped in on that calligraphy class, and personal computers might not have the wonderful typography that they do. You can't connect the dots looking forward. You can only connect them looking backwards. So you have to trust that the dots will somehow connect in your future.
So a lot of what people find in life that provides them with a sustaining meaning is a consequence of not the pursuit of rights or the pursuit of happiness or the development of self-esteem, but the adoption of responsibility. And the more responsibility, in some sense, the better. It's people who take responsibility that are the ones that you admire, and that's the right pathway through life. That's where meaning is to be found.
Your time is limited, so don't waste it living someone else's life. Don't be trapped by dogma, which is living with the results of other people's thinking. Don't let the noise of others' opinions drown out your own inner voice. And most important, have the courage to follow your heart and intuition. They somehow already know what you truly want to become. Everything else is secondary.
You can't change something until you own it. So if you're 50 plus and you're sitting out there and pointing fingers at other people, you can do that for a long time. But it's hard to look in the mirror and say, how did I get here?
It's believing that the dots will connect down the road will give you the confidence to follow your heart, even when it leads you off the well-worn path, and that will make all the difference. I'm convinced that the only thing that kept me going was that I loved what I did. You've got to find what you love, and that is as true for work as it is for your lovers. Your work is going to fill a large part of your life, and the only way to be truly satisfied is to do what you believe is great work. And the only way to do great work is to love what you do. If you haven't found it yet, keep looking, and don't settle.
No one is supposed to live in here. No one is supposed to just spend extended periods of time in here. This is a public restroom. This is not a living space. But were it not for this space, there were some days we would have had no place else to go. I mean, a lot of decisions, a lot of hard decisions were made right here about what are you going to do with your life? Where are you going to go? How are you going to get there?